This week I'm starting to build the staterooms that are attached to the quarterbirds. We're going to start on the Portside stateroom. They're inside the doghouse. Sorry, cat house. My name is Matt. Follow along as I turn Duracell, the legendary ocean racing sailboat, into a comfortable cruising home. As you know by now, the first step in building interior spaces is to create a template. Here I am creating a template for the Portside stateroom. I used a laser line to find where the aft edge of the bulkhead will be. The boat tapers aft here, so the part will fit better than if I used the forward face. I place the blocks along that line, which are used to hold the patterning doorskin in place. I like to go around the perimeter of the area with doorskin pieces that do not overlap each other, so it is perfectly flat on one side. Then use short pieces to connect the pattern together. This makes tracing a lot better. Once it's all together, I break it from the blocks and take the template to the shop. For this area, I'm going to cut a mock-up first. There may be a few small changes I want to make to the room's shape before committing with the fiberglass and foam panel. And it's cheaper to cut up a piece of MDF. So it was cut out and fit pretty well on the first try, but the tighter it fits, the less glue and lighter it will be. So I use my oscillating tool to nip and tuck here and there until there is a tight fit. For the inboard wall, it is mostly a rectangular piece except for along the bottom where it will meet the stringers. So I made the forward and aft edges of the wall plumb and found the angle of the stringer to those edges with the pattern. So this is the changing room, stateroom that's been mocked up. I've been thinking about this and drawing these staterooms for a long time. There's going to be equal ones on both sides. For something like this, it's important for me to mock it up because all the details I'm not able to work out on the computer just because I want to feel what it's like to step through the door or stand inside it or whatever. And so a couple things that I changed as I was doing it. First of all, there's kind of a flare to this wall. This wall is not square to the boat. It flares open as you step down just a little bit. And that's to follow the stringer that it's going to be glued to, but also so that it doesn't feel so much like a tunnel as you're coming down the staircase into the galley area. You'll also notice that the bottom of the door is raised up a little bit. And that is because the floor in this whole galley area is going to be about 7 inches higher than it is now. So what you'll actually do is we'll be standing up. You'll be able to see above this when you're standing in the galley area, but you'll step down into the stateroom. I haven't quite figured out yet how exactly I want to lay out the cabinetry that's in there yet. It's close, but it's not quite there yet. I want there to be a little seat in there for people to sit down when they're putting their socks on or whatever, but also plenty of storage space for people to, whoever's staying to stow their gear and clothes and stuff. This mock-up I did to be very accurate so I can use these pieces as the templates to cut out the fiberglass parts. So fingers crossed this will actually go pretty quickly getting these built. At least the initial stage of them getting built.
We don't usually show all the preparation that goes into each project, so here's a glimpse. We spent a day preparing for the stateroom build. I cut materials for making the fiberglass flat panels, while Matt prepared the stateroom area. hours of cutting later, and we have 6 sheets of fiberglass, 6 peel ply, 3 plastic, and 3 felt. So we're ready to go for lamination.
If you've been following along for a while now, you may have noticed that I build almost everything from fiberglass and foam flat panels that I make myself. I make them by laminating fiberglass to both sides and then vacuum bagging them to my laminating table. How much fiberglass goes on each panel and how thick it will be is determined by what part I'm doing, so each one is customized. It is time consuming to make a panel, so when I have a plan for multiple panels, I try to make as many at a time as possible. If I'm by myself, 3 panels is about maximum because I don't want the epoxy to start curing too much before getting them under vacuum. In this case, I think I'll need 2 3/4-inch panels for the walls and 1 1.5-inch thick panel for the overhead. I'm hoping that I'll get most of the starboard side with these as well, but I'll probably have to make 1 more. Each panel I make is pretty expensive, both in time and materials, so I am trying to make as little waste as possible. So I stack the laminated panels with breather cloth between each panel to make sure any air is evacuated and no voids are left. So the first part of building these changing rooms has been working on these cabinets. These are going to be pretty simple. This is just a hanging locker. That won't fall out. So it's going to be very simple. It's just a hanging locker on top, and then this face right here will be a drawer that pulls out. It'll be kind of a big drawer. And lastly, in this space will be another locker, so just a door that opens. And where I was sitting right here is just going to be a little seat for people to sit and change their clothes if they need to. So it's a very simple storage system in here. Once I was happy with the mocked up stateroom walls, I was ready to cut out the real pieces. The nice thing about making the mock-up walls super accurate versus just a proof of concept style mock-up is that I can take them and use them as a template. For this weird piece that fits outboard, I cut it close with a jigsaw first, and then make it perfect with the router. I really like how accurate the router is, but it makes a huge mess even with my vacuum attached to it. So for this inboard wall, I was able to cut it out very accurately with my track saw, which is a lot cleaner than using the router, but takes a little more time. This last part is the door, which was the most difficult part to make as it has to fit along the hole at the bottom, but be square at the walls and make the edge of the 20-inch wide door, so I spent extra time in getting it right. Alright, so I've got the walls cut out. We're going to see if they fit.
This is great.
Don't sit on that. That's not a seat. The other one's a seat.
Oh, right. That's the cabinet.
Yeah.
It's nice and spacious. Well, spacious maybe not, but enough room.
So it's pretty similar to the mock-up that we did. I made a couple changes. First, I'm not going to do the curved bottom like I do with a lot of the doors and stuff in the boat. It is not necessary. It uses extra material, which I'm trying to avoid, especially with these pieces. There is going to be a curve on top. I still have to make that piece. And remember that the floor is going to be 6 or 7 inches higher here. So there won't be a step over this threshold. but you will have to duck into it and you'll step down to the stateroom. And I think there's plenty of space in here to change and get in and out of bed. And, you know, the purpose of this thing is to just offer some privacy to those guests that will be on board. So I think it's a very nice little space.
What are you doing this morning, Judy?
I am preparing to paint. This is the bilge and the underside of the bunk.
So you're masking, sanding, cleaning,
All that prep work.
all that prep work. What are you doing, Iris? What are you doing this morning? And what are you doing, honey Munchkin?
No.
Here's a blooper for you.
I never call him honey Munchkin. It's just funny in front of your viewers. No. Not gonna go there.
Not going to respond to that.
Okay, let's try that again. What are you doing this morning, Matt?
I'm just gluing in the cabinetry that is going to be inside the changing room. So I want to get the cabinetry glued in, and then we can glue in the walls and everything.
So are you gonna use your homemade hinges to put in the cabinet door?
Maybe. Yeah, we'll see how I feel about making that many hinges.
I thought you loved your hinges.
I do love my hinges. I love them very much, but at some point I gotta say enough is enough.
So you would buy hinges?
I know.
Wait, you can buy hinges? And you made your own, honey?
Mm-hmm. What's wrong with making your own? So my mom is painting the area in the Portside Quarterb that will be underneath the bed. So that's where the fuel tank will be, and there'll be a big storage area under there as well. Those kind of areas that are just need like good protection, and you know, I want it to look nice without doing a ton of work painting it. We use this stuff bilge coat. It's an enamel, and so it's really easy. And my mom's gonna paint that area today, so looking forward to see how it turns out.
We love the days when Matt's mom comes to help, which is about once a week. While we do try to prioritize seeing friends and family, I think those closest to Matt have realized that if they want to spend a day with him, it's got to be rolling up their sleeves and working alongside him on the boat. This project is 7 days a week, full on. Today felt like a real team effort, with me filming and editing and cooking meals, Judy painting, and Matt laminating the deck to the doghouse sides at the stateroom area with 2 layers of 17-ounce Bilax. black bean soup with cheesy toast. Lunchtime.
Finally, after all the prep work to get the area ready, it was time to glue in the walls. Ready?
Ready.
And one last check to make sure it's all level and square. Cool. That's all. These are glued in. The cabinets are basically made. It's down to finish work and installing the top, the overhead that goes on here, and my little top of the door shape piece. There's a lot to do that's left, but the room is coming together very quickly, and the next thing to do is the other side. So hopefully by the end of next week, we'll have both staterooms with roofs on them, and it'll be very exciting. We only have one Patreon to thank this week. It's Lorne, who's from California. He used to sail Firebirds in the 70s in California. So thank you very much to Lorne, and thank you, of course, to everybody who's been supporting this project. We could not do this without you.